But I did have a couple of things that I did want to talk about as it pertained to, Pete Hegseth and his little speech that he gave the other day in front of the generals. You know, basically starting his Third Reich or whatever, his SS, whatever, you know, scary, dangerous stuff. And just all of the things that he said at just going down into nitpicky little areas, to me, were very concerning to say the least. But there are several things that really stood out from the get go. For example, they were talking about how they want, unless you're in special forces, that they don't want you having beards. And immediately, my mind there goes to they don't want Muslims. That's the way that they're going to get around not hiring Muslims into the military, and perhaps other people who might be, have beards more frequently. They want the military to have a specific look amongst them. There are other people who wanted their country and their military to have a specific look about them as well. A certain mustachioed man who didn't even fit that look also wanted to have a specific look. Now, of course, old Pistol Pete, old Petey Hegseth, Kegseth, if you will, he there's a video of him, I'm not showing it, but there's a video of him doing pull-ups. And he's trying to tell us how he can do the drills that everybody who is currently an active, either enlisted or whatever, somebody who's active duty military, or even in our National Guard units, he said he's doing the drills that they can do. Now, I've never served in the military, and I mean, he did a better job than I could have done. I'll give him that. I don't think I could even get one pull-up, let alone several of the pull-ups that he did. But the pull-ups that he did were more like spastic worm on a hook, trying to using more of his total body to try and jerk himself up than to actually pull himself up with the muscles in his arms. I have a feeling that if he had a drill instructor who was sitting there trying to, watch him do those drills, he would call him all sorts of names that will now be legal under the Hegseth policies, because they're going to revamp what it is to be a bully in order for them to be able to discipline and encourage their troops to be the killing, fighting machines that they want the military to be, even though we are still the most dangerous military in the world, and we were the most dangerous and effective military in the world, regardless if it was President Trump, President Obama, President Biden, President Clinton, President Bush, President Reagan, President Bush, whatever. Our military has been the best in the world and will continue to be the best in the world, despite the ridiculousness of this administration and what they claim happens all over the place. But the grooming standards is just one of the several issues. You have the adverse information policy that they're going to be looking over now, which is basically not just they want to basically make sure that there's a preponderance of the evidence for something to go on your record, and that you're not going to get multiple things on the same topic going on somebody's record. And there's going to be 10 years, I think, a 10-year look back, and after that it's going to drop off. So if you did something terrible in your service, we could just forget about it after 10 years because you're a totally different person now, right? Right? But one of the most important things that is listed in all of the things that Pete Hegseth wants to do is that Pete Hegseth wants to make it so that you can no longer anonymously report. So if you can no longer anonymously report, fewer people are going to come forward and report harm done to them, especially in cases of rape and sexual assault. And if in those cases then they're not willing to come forward, then that means that more people are going to be getting away with rape and sexual assault as people in the military. And that should be seen as problematic. But Pete Hegseth is probably thinks, well, if you're a tough military person, you should be able to tough it out and be brave and stare your person in the face that you're making an accusation of. But in reality, if you have a support structure, or if you don't have a support structure to help victims come forward and be able to say, this is what happened to me, listen to me, trust me, believe me, you're not going to have that, then people are going to want to make their complaints anonymously, because otherwise they're not going to step forward, because they're going to fear retribution, especially now that they're revamping the bullying policies and allowing certain things to take place that, maybe code reds will be illegal now or be legal now, right? As if you go back to, you can't handle the truth. Anyway, again, military fitness standards, ridiculous. They're just going to use that as an excuse to get rid of older people in the military that they don't agree with. I guarantee you that the military fitness standards are not going to be universally, subjected to the people in the military. They're going to probably see a conservative MAGA backing general who might have a few pounds on his waist and might not be able to do the drills that everyone else is supposed to do. And they'll just be like, we'll give you 6 months, go work on it. And then they'll just file that away and forget about it. Meanwhile, if you have somebody that hasn't sworn fealty to this traitorous president, that person will probably be given the door immediately because, oh, sorry, you're a fatty. We don't want fatties around here, right? That's pretty much what they gonna do. And then, again, as I've said before, reviewing of hazing, bullying, and harassment. According to the press release or the memorandum written by old Petey Boy, department policy defining conduct by service members that it constitutes hazing, bullying, and harassment is overly broad, jeopardizing combat readiness, mission accomplishment, and trust in the organization. The trust in the organization is lost when you don't have standards on bullying, hazing, etc., because people don't trust that they're going to be treated as if they should be treated, because despite the fact that they're in the military, you might not want to treat them as humans, old Petey Boy, but they are human beings and shouldn't be subjected to certain things. To maintain a lethal and ready force, leaders must be empowered to make the right decisions, enforce standards, and restore good order, which just basically means we don't want people second-guessing our military staff when they decide to beat the hell out of a recruit because that recruit isn't, running as fast as you think he might want to run at the very beginning of said recruiting phase. This is what these policies are for. They're not to make us a more effective fighting force. They're to make it so that they have an easier time getting rid of more people. Why? Because they want the military to be straight, white men who are Christian, period. Onward, Christian soldiers. Everyone else can kick rocks, according to my opinion, at least, on what this administration would say as it pertains to maintaining other folks. He kept on saying during the whole speech that if you're a woman and you can do what is required of you to do, then by all means do it and you'll be able to serve. But then he also trying to claim that his rules are going to be gender neutral, but then he says it's going to be male standards. It's going to set it to male standards, which then is not gender neutral. It shouldn't be male standards. It should be the standards that are required for somebody to adequately serve in the role that they're trying to serve this country in. And for different positions, that's going to require different levels of training. And also, again, if you're going to make it so that nobody in the military can be a fatty, if you will, if nobody in the military, if everybody in the military has to follow certain drills and certain things that can be done, whenever, you're going to be missing out on a lot of high qualified people. It's translators, software developers, and other roles where you're going to sit there and be a desk jockey, so to speak. If you're going to sit there and you're going to do your position that doesn't require you to be out in the field actively hunting down and killing people. Those people shouldn't need to have the same readiness as the people, out in the field, the people who are working computers. What if somebody has a disability and can't, go serve on the front lines, but they're a good programmer? You're not going to give them a job because, their disability makes it harder for them to work out, to actually be in a tip-top physical shape. Again, you're going to ruin the military readiness. You're going to make it so that we are less of a lethal combat force, simply because you want to make, again, a new Aryan Army 2.0. And if you can't see it, I have to question why you can't see it. Challenge will go to all the conservatives out there to say, hey, you come on and tell me why. Tell me why. Why are these changes good? Why should I not be concerned that keeping software developers out who are chubby. I mean, I'm not trying to apply to a job. I mean, I'm a software developer. I'm happy in my current position. I'm not trying to apply for a job in the military, nor would I want to work under Donald Trump's military to begin with, because I wouldn't want to work for Donald Trump at all, because I don't trust him at all. Don't trust him as far as I could throw him, and with my bad knee, I shouldn't be throwing anybody. Anyway, so what do you think? Agree, disagree, whatever, leave your comments down below, etc., etc.